We're in need of a transfer window. Went from listening to samba to funky. Like rude boy, you're really gonna bang though. Pause, hold up boy, let me Lando. I know Ronaldo was the name brand, but still same way man can go. But not many places man can go. So I question, if we don't start him, then why don't we wanna let man go? We pretend everything's Gucci, but it's on a bench more than store clothes. Why didn't we terminate contract? It's a question only the Lord knows. How bad is Raphael's injury? Well, we gotta wait and see what the scan shows. What? Yo, this is the OT99 Banter Room, where opinions are shared and smoke gets served. We're back again with another show. It's your boy Therms, and I'm joined today by Edwin. Only Edwin. NK is somewhere in the States, flying high, enjoying his best life. I saw his status. You know, all I saw was beach and you know, sunshine and palm trees, bro. So whatever he's doing, he's living his life, bro. Check him out when you got the opportunity, and just can't leave a comment on his page. Just tell him, you know what, he's a waste man. No, I'm joking. Hold tight, NK. Look, Manchester United against Chelsea. Manchester United 0, Chelsea 0. No, what am I talking about? Sorry, Manchester United 1, Chelsea 1, but it felt like a 0-0, man. It felt like we were never gonna score on our end, didn't we? But we managed to get the goal, a last gasp goal from Casemiro. You get me, saving the day. You know what I mean? Sparing our blushes. But as you can see from the shake of the head from Edwin, he's not impressed. So, Edwin, how you feeling, man?
I'm good. First of all, how are you?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. Like, it's one of those ones where, look, we managed to spare our blushes. Like I was saying, we're not like dropping 3 points. So I can understand this is a game that we could have won. So yeah, so it's tough.
I feel like the 1-1 doesn't really represent. Like, remember I told you last episode, I'm not getting excited, man. Man United played well against Tottenham. I know everyone was like, this is the Man United we want to see, the Man United of old, attacking, pressing football. Yeah. But as we know, a facade. It was a facade, mate. Like, no, but I feel like they didn't. That's why I said I don't want to get excited, because I needed to see consistency or it to regular happen, and we didn't have any intensity really until we went down. Like, we were cruising, and Chelsea were really there for the taking today. Like, you know what I mean? But yeah, man, we didn't play well.
But then that's the thing, though. Like, because obviously I was upset when we like went down. You know, looking at Scott McTominay came on, gave away a foul, caused the penalty straight away, and Scott McTominay is a guy that's been coming off the bench, and he's always getting yellows. You know what I mean? He's got so many yellow cards this season already that he's been, you know what I mean, like, put on a little ban. He comes on and he gives away a penalty like that, and he's moving like there's no such thing as VAR. It's so frustrating. But like, I look at it and the Manchester United overall, look at the performance, and like I was looking at this post that was put out earlier on, and it was saying how Man United, out of like the top so-called top 6 that we've played, we've taken what do you call it? What was it again? Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, so it was like Man United, we played a top 6 team. So we played Liverpool, which we won at home. We played Arsenal, which we won at home as well. Manchester City, we lost that one away. Tottenham Hotspur, we won that one at home. And Chelsea, we drew that game, which is obviously like today. But it's saying, you know, out of the 6 teams that we've played, top 6 in the first 11 opening games, that we've got 10 points out of a possible 15. And you look at it and you're thinking, raw, like, if you start in the season saying, you know, we're going to face the top 6, right, and we could take 10 points from 15, what would you say to that? Not knowing what Erik ten Hag's going to bring. And that's the thing. I look at it and think, like, Manchester United, I know we've dropped, and Newcastle as well, obviously, where we discussed that we drew against them as well, and they're a tough team. And you have to look at it like Manchester United's in a position where if we were consistent, we will be challenging for the title. I feel like we will be. But we're obviously in the first year under Ten Hag and this rebuild. So I have to kind of think, you know, like, am I being too harsh? Do we want like too much too soon? Or like, what is it anyway to you? What's your thoughts on it? Because do you feel like what you want in terms of this consistency from Manchester United, you can get that? Or do you feel like from this current crop of players, or do you feel like we need a few more transfer windows?
I think we can, and this is the thing. We showed it last game. We showed we can play that high intense. I know it's like the games are bunched up, but we had the energy in the last 10 minutes to start pushing when we went down, right? So we got to start the games like that, be intentional. Like City do it really well where they'll win the game before the half or early, then they could start bringing on players. And that another importance might be actually starting quick so we can rest these players. You know what I mean? Bring on. So say if we're 2-0 up or 3-0 up by 60th minute, bring on your defensive players, you know what I mean? Like work hard in the beginning, set the pace, and then you can relax in the later stages. So I do think they can do it, man. It's just that when we play the way we played today, we're just gonna either get draws, or if we play better teams, we're just gonna get, like as we saw against City, we're just gonna get punished. Even we saw that against Brentford as well. You know what I mean? So, but with
and that's the thing.
Yeah, go on. Sorry.
No, I agree. I think that's the thing. I think like Manchester United is like in the first half, we got chances. Rashford got chances, but I think you mentioned it before. Like with Rashford, he seems to just smash it at goal rather than placing it. It's like everything he does is smash. So he doesn't really pick out a corner. Sometimes he can do that. I've seen him where he's put through and then he opens up his body and then he slots it in. But a lot of the time of late, he's just been like drilling it. It's almost like he's taking a free kick, just smashing the ball and he hopes that it goes in. But more time he's just striking it at the goalkeeper. So my thing is this, we did have the odd opportunity, not as much as Tottenham, but we had opportunities to go up in this game. And this was always going to be one of those games because Man United tend to draw with Chelsea. Like our last 4 or 5 games, it's been draws. Do you know what I mean? And I just knew it was going to be one of them type of games. But Man United are just, again, not taking opportunities. So I agree in that sense. I feel like a striker's probably needed. Like, actually, it's not probably. It's definitely needed if we're not going to be playing Cristiano Ronaldo. We've got to be thinking about what we do in January. But what's your thoughts?
Well, in regards to a striker,
yeah,
we need one. Rashford was it 2 games, no goals, and he had chances. You know, I know he didn't seem as visible today, but there's a few chances where he popped out. And he just needs to be a bit more clinical. If they're going to play him up front, he needs to do his role up front. All the extra stuff like the running and the dribbling and beating plays is all good, but that's not the role you've been allocated to do. So I think we definitely need someone a bit ruthless up front because we're struggling in the final third.
Especially in a game like this. Especially in a game like this, like I said, it's not like a game like Tottenham. Like we didn't have too many clear-cut opportunities on goal. We weren't creating as many chances. Do you know what I mean? I can't remember how many times he crossed the ball, Dalot crossed the ball, or Shaw crossed the ball into the box. I can't remember how many through balls we put in. Maybe 1 or 2 here and there, but not many. And where that happens, you need someone clinical. And then maybe that was a shout for Cristiano Ronaldo. I know Ten Hag would have been like, yeah, this game may have been made for him. He may have got some minutes. But the way I look at it is like, Manchester United, it seemed like in the first half, bar maybe like the last 10 minutes of the first half, we looked like we was in control. We looked like we was creating space, was pressing well. I think the minute the game changed is when Potter decided to bring on Kovacic. He added that extra midfielder in the midfield, took off Cucurella, and then it didn't seem like there was any space. And they were dominating possession in that last 10 and then the beginning of the second half until when, maybe within the first 10 minutes. Ten Hag now goes and counters it and brings on Fred. Do you know what I mean? And then the game was just too compact. There wasn't no space. It was, you know what I mean? So my thing was just like, it really did need some potency, like in terms of a clinical striker to go and just. I was thinking it's going to be a 1-0 game or 0-0. Do you know what I mean? I didn't even. Yeah, it was just one of those games. I didn't think it would be a high scoring game.
Yeah, Man United they just struggled, man. You know what I mean? Struggled.
What's your thoughts though on this Varane situation though? Because obviously, my thing is like, with games like this, you want to pick your head up, go again. But when you see Varane down with that injury, I think he went to go on he hyperextended his leg or whatever like that, and he fell down, and you can see him mid-air going to the ground, sort of, and he didn't move. His hands was in his face was in his hands, and he was just in so much agony and pain, and you can see like he was in tears, crying. Do you know what I mean? And when a player's crying like that, to me, I just felt this ain't good. I automatically went to the World Cup automatically started thinking, why is he this emotional? He knows his own body. Like, why is he this emotional? Do you know what I mean? So I'm hoping it's not bad news. Get me? Hopefully 24 hours we hear something, like tomorrow we hear something or whatever to hear the outcome, or latest Monday. But what's your thoughts on that injury of Varane, and how do you think it's going to impact Manchester United? Because I saw a post with Maguire saying he's training hard every day. He's almost up to full fitness. So how do you think that injury is going to impact him and the World Cup and Manchester United?
Well, I hope. Well, we have to wait and see how long he's out. Maybe it's not. Sometimes, even though it's frustration, maybe that it might just be the frustration of the game as well. So hopefully he's not out. I don't know. Look, if he's out for a long time, it's going to be difficult for us because, you know, defensively we've always had issues, but with Martinez and Varane, we found a partnership and some consistency at the back. With Maguire coming in, with him struggling straight away, and then with him struggling in form,
yeah,
and then coming into a team, I don't know if he's going to hit the ground running.
So
it's going to be difficult because, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be a big loss, but we'll have to wait and see. What do you think? Do you think? Who would you rather have, Lindelof or Maguire play there?
Lindelof, hands down. Yeah. He's already shown that he can be the number 3. You can rely on him. He came in and he saw out this game. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's not a guy that I'm worried about. I think, obviously, Varane is needed, like, the X factor if you want to guarantee and keep a clean sheet, as well as, like, do you know what I mean? Just have a solid foundation to build up of. Like, Varane and Martinez is that back supposed to be in that back 4 if you want that comfortability. But Lindelof is a guy that you can equally depend on if he's partnered with Martinez. I think the minute you bring in Maguire, the panic stations are going again. Like, I looked at Varane though, it's sad because Varane made some key interceptions like in that game, you know. I remember him cutting out a 1-to-1, 1v1 opportunity with Aubameyang. Remember Varane was on a one-on-one sort of with him. He made a vital interception, bro, with that tackle, bro. Otherwise, Aubameyang would have been in and he would have got a goal. That's something, that calmness and that pace that Varane gives you. Do you know what I mean? And now he's injured. Maguire's closer to starting. Do you know what I mean? He's closer to being in that lineup again. And it all comes down to the squad depth. Like, I don't feel like Man United should. I know that I'm very happy with Martinez. Don't get me wrong. Number 1 guy. But I don't want us to say, because we got Martinez, we shouldn't potentially even look at guys like Timber, who we originally wanted. I think come the summer, if miraculously you can get someone like that earlier, then by all means. But I feel like we really need to be considering bringing in a centre back as well. Again, a centre back probably like Timber, because we can't. Have you not, like, all of our guys that we rely on are guys that are injury prone, bro? Do you know what I mean?
No, that's true.
They're injury prone, bro. Like the guys that are, the Martials, the Varanes, like you're just, it's breadstick stuff, and you're just breadstick, hamstring. They're just injury prone looking guys. We can't go. You look at our bench, bro, and it's just like, who's there? Who's gonna pull us out? Who's gonna save us? We was playing against Chelsea today. I saw Chelsea bringing on Bro. You know that Broja guy, that one that was on loan at Southampton, that striker guy who was playing out wide or whatever. Look, they'll bring on him, and I was just like, oh my gosh, he looks like he could do something. They'll bring on Pulisic. Do you know what I mean? They'll bring on Kovacic. They're bringing on guys like that. Look, we brought on a guy who gave away a penalty. You know what I mean? Like, in how many minutes he gave away a penalty? We're bringing on Elanga, and I wanted Elanga to come on because we needed an outlet, but the quality, the squad depth, we ain't got that, and it's a big issue for us.
It's true, and I think that's the problem, the squad depth, and like you say, people just be getting injured all the time. But with Varane, at least his injuries haven't been as long term. We've seen him at least a bit more consistently. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's been able to build up a relationship with Martinez. It's just, even like you say, someone like, these are the times we actually need someone like Martial. You know what I mean?
Big time. What do you think? Do you feel like this guy? What would you do with Martial? Would you keep him or sell him?
I'll keep him. The market's very difficult, isn't it? Someone of his stature. If we can somehow get him I think the main thing is don't rush him back, get him fit. If we can somehow find a way where we don't have to rush him back and can fully like look after himself, then yeah. Because look, the market is tough, isn't it? Even to get a striker. So,
but does it set a good precedence where he's only started one game in 11? He's on 250k a week, and you know what I mean.
It becomes a problem if there's more games, but it's only 10 games still. So hopefully we'll see in the next couple games. We'll see whether it's going to be an issue or not.
Man, I really do feel like, at least anyway, in January, Gakpo's a no-brainer to me. I feel like if we don't go in for Gakpo and get Gakpo in January, bro, I don't know what we're smoking. And I feel like the Glazers is already setting us up to have a annoying. You know what I mean? They're going to probably be like, oh, if Ronaldo doesn't leave, we can't bring in anyone. Do you know what I mean? If Ronaldo leaves, then we can bring in someone. I can see it coming down to that. But at the same time, it's just like, who are the suitors for Ronaldo? Do you know what I mean? He's not trying to go MLS at the minute. He's not trying to go to Saudi or China at the minute. So who are the suitors that's willing to take him? And that's going to be their biggest issue. But let's go on to Fred. So Fred obviously was a guy, you know, against Tottenham. He got the man of the match. He performed out of his skin. Great performance. Today, it was a bit more of he came off the bench. Was you surprised to see him like on the bench and not starting against?
A little bit, but at the same time, he probably wanted the composure and the technicality from Eriksen. But yeah, I thought he done enough to probably prompt for him to start the game. You know, he done well. But then, maybe that set the precedent of how we were going to play, because the intensity wasn't there, isn't it? And he's the main one in the midfield that like has all the energy, isn't it? But it did look like he struggled a bit though.
Who? Fred or Eriksen? Who?
Fred, like he was still showing the energy, but he was giving the ball away. He was getting caught. He was giving away some bad passing. So.
Did you see when he did that? Like he got to like the edge of the box type thing, and he done that shot/cross, and it just went wide.
Yeah, and it just went wide. Yeah,
just like what was that, bro? So I get what you mean, and I can see why Eriksen came on, because this is the thing. Like you either go for the tenacity, the pressing, the high energy that Fred brings, or you get the slightly higher ball retention, more composed nature that Eriksen brings. And I must say that Casemiro and Eriksen in the first half did well. Do you know what I mean? They was composed. They were like pressing. Like I remember like leading up to Rashford's chance, Casemiro and Eriksen both clamped. Was it Ruben Loftus-Cheek snapped the ball off him, and then they set up Rashford, and then obviously Rashford had that goal attempt. It was because they were pressing. It's just when that Kovacic sub was made, they just got outdone in the midfield. And I just feel like with Fred brings that different bit of it where he may not be as clinical, he may not be as cute, he may not be like, you don't have the passing like Eriksen, but what he will do will be a warrior in that midfield. So it's a tough balance that we're trying to get with the midfield. Do you know what I mean? It almost reminds me of the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer situation, because with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, when we was looking at this, we was like, oh, Ole really needs a DM. If Ole gets a DM, we can free Bruno Fernandes and Pogba. Do you know what I mean? It could be like 2 number 8s. That was the argument. Now we've got Casemiro, where like we're playing Bruno Fernandes and Eriksen. Do you know what I mean? Almost like the 2 number 8 type setup, right? And then, well, obviously Eriksen sits deeper, but it's just like 2 guys that are less defensive, more attacking, that's hat-minded, and then Casemiro there. But now we're sitting there thinking, but in certain games, we will do we want more energy and tenacity? And this is what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was in a situation where he was thinking, he can't play Bruno, and he'd rather just play Fred and have that high intensity instead of going all out and playing maybe a Bruno with Pogba in certain games, because he just didn't feel like he had enough cover to play Bruno and Pogba and just have one defensive-minded person in Scott McTominay or Fred. So I feel like we're in a situation as well where we just still need, it just feels like there's amongst the fan base that they're still wanting a bit more balance in certain games where they want the energy of Fred, and they don't feel like Eriksen at times or Bruno even at times maybe enough in terms of that physicality. What's your thoughts on that midfield situation?
I feel like there definitely needs to be balance, but there needs to be like similar how they worked on the Varane and Martinez. There needs to be consistency in the midfield, and so maybe like he should have played Fred, maybe just consistency basis and just see how it goes and brought on Ericsson, because then there's the whole culture of bringing on players too quick and they get injured again. So I think it's going to be interesting. We definitely, by the looks of it, we probably do need another midfielder, one that's quick, that's strong, and that can pass. You know, maybe someone that's a mixture of Ericsson and a bit of Fred in terms of energy. But
yeah,
I think we have to work with what we got. But he needs to find the right balance in the games, and maybe we needed the Fred to help be pressing in that midfield, or maybe Fred should have come earlier when they brought on the third midfielder, when they had three in midfield, because then like everything was just compact, like you said.
it's true, and I think like there's a lot of work to do in Manchester United. So obviously, you look at Arsenal's top of the league right now. But they've had 3 years under Arteta. So Arteta's been able to bring in his players, work with these same crop of players for 3 years. We look at Erik ten Hag now, and obviously he's in the early stages of his reign, but he's doing well. I think he's in a good upward trajectory. And I just look at the work that needs to be done at Manchester United, because I remember this transfer window with the signings that we made, a lot of them just went into the first team. They just walked into the first team. Do you know what I mean? Like, we brought in Malacia, he went into the first team after a few games. Now it's obviously Shaw stepped up a little bit. We brought in Martinez, he walked into the first team. He's ever present now. Do you know? Well, he didn't walk in, but you know, since he started, that was it. No turning back. We got who else? Who's in the mid? Casemiro. Once he's entered into that start, he was bought to be a first teamer anyway. Once he's solidified his place, he's not going anywhere. Do you know? Anthony, again, he's a mainstay person. He's not going anywhere. And did I mention Ericsson or whatever like that? Ericsson, again, he's someone that is looking like Erik ten Hag's first choice person. It's just like, now you need to think about it. How many top 6 teams, will go on and buy 5-6 players and they'll walk into the first team and start straight away in the first team, regardless of who we bought? Do you know what I mean? They bought 6 players and 5-6 players, and they're all walking into your first team. It just goes to show how much of a gap there was in our first team before you can even think about squad depth. Do you know what I mean? Quality squad depth that you can buy as a top 6 team, bro. Man United. It's a lot of work to do, bro.
Too much work to do.
It's mad. But you know, it's one of those things. We had an opportunity to leapfrog Chelsea. Right now, what are we, like 1 point behind Chelsea or 2 points behind Chelsea? No, I don't think it's even 1 point. It's probably like 2 or 3 points. I double check that now. It's probably like 2 or 3 points behind Chelsea. And look,
no, it was definitely a good chance for us to like stake our claim in the top 4. And sometimes when you look back on games in the season, this could be one of them. I hope.
It's 1 point.
Okay, but is the games the same?
Yeah, both played 11 games. Decent.
Okay, that's not too bad.
But we could have leapfrogged them and gone into top 4 because it was there for the taking. But I think the good thing is now is that we've played, like I said, on paper, the top 6. We've played them. We've come out relatively unscathed. And you know what I mean? I feel like other teams up there right now still need to play each other. Like Arsenal, for example, they've played Liverpool, they've played Tottenham, and they've played us.
Yeah.
There's probably a couple of other games in there that they've got to play, you know, and get tested. Do you know what I mean? In terms of City, I'm not sure. City's played Liverpool, they've played us. They haven't played Arsenal yet. Don't think they've played Tottenham yet. Don't know if they've played Chelsea yet. So there's still a few games where teams can drop points, and hopefully we just need to be there in and about, and then hopefully we can capitalize. Do you know what I mean? I think our next few games should be doable, should be all winnable. But I think our main problem is not just like, let me see the fixtures. So our next games is Aston Villa on a 20. Yeah. Aston Villa. No, what am I talking about? No, it's not Aston Villa. I'm chatting. What am I talking about? Our next game is so we got Tiraspol in Europa League. Then after that, we've got West Ham at home. Then we've got Real Sociedad away. So the Premier League games. Then we've got Villa. So we've got West Ham. Then we've got Villa. Then we've got Fulham. So technically, we should be able to hopefully pick up some points. And then we've got Nottingham Forest. You know, I know they beat Liverpool, but we should be able to get Wolves as well, Bournemouth before we play City. So we got a decent run. Do you know what I mean? Where we can pick up some points. So I'm hoping that, you know, Manchester United just keeps pushing, man. Lindelof holds up, stays fit, does his job, and we just climb up this table, man. But I can't really. We all know what needs to happen, isn't it? We need to get a new striker. We need to sort that situation out. Once we sort that situation out, that's someone that's clinical. We could be looking like a different team right about now. Do you understand? And it's unfortunate that Ronaldo's not. It's unfortunate that he's not banging. What do you think is the issue with Ronaldo though? Before we close, do you think like age has caught up with him, or do you feel like, is it a pre-season thing? Is it just that we just need to play him through the poor patches or whatever it is?
I think despite his age, he needs games. Like, you know, Ronaldo's proved that he's one of the fittest footballers, like in terms of like just general health. I think he just needs a run of games because, like, no matter how good you are, even Messi had the same problem at PSG. You just need to get integrated in a new environment, new team. He's been at Man United, I know before, but this is under a new management, a new way of playing, and he just needs to play. And look, at the moment, he's the only really out and out striker that can get us goals. I know a lot of people say, look, he's past it, but let's be honest, he's been given he started a few games, but then given cameo roles. Like, you can't really do that much. So I think to get the best out of him, we've got to play him continuously through each game, and and I think he will improve. You know, I think he's his match fitness, because at the same time, even though Ronaldo is Ronaldo, he's still human. You know what I mean? So
what's your response to this? People would say, what's your response to this? People would say how, you know, you heard Gary Neville, he was saying how Manchester United don't score as many goals as a team collectively with Ronaldo in it, that Ronaldo are probably better off without him than they are with him in the team. And you've got Roy Keane saying, you know what, like, this guy's a goal scorer, or kind of, you know what I mean, like this. And the fan base is kind of, I wouldn't say split down the middle, but there's differing opinions, as you would expect in a fan base, where some are like, you know what, we should be starting Ronaldo. Some are saying, no, like, you know, we're better off without him. So, do you know what I mean? It's just like, it's a confusing setup right now. But I'm just thinking, if we're not going to be splashing in January, like, what are we doing with Ronaldo? Someone that just got his 700th goal.
We've got to play him, man. We've got to play him. Like, we don't have anyone of his caliber that can play up front. So we've got to play him. For him to be consistent and do well, he's got to start, and he's got to play him. If not, we're not only wasting him, we're also going to waste. We're struggling to get goals or be effective in the final third. Like, we're doing everything harder, and we're not getting our strikers scoring.
But do you feel like, so obviously when you look at Rashford, you see how, I mean, even if he's not scoring, what he does at times, like you saw him against Tottenham, where he's drawing out defenders, do you know what I mean, making like diagonal runs in behind the line, do you know what I mean, drawing defenders close to him, running between the channels and all of that stuff. With Ronaldo, people would say, like, they'll argue that, you know, we don't create as much space, we don't create as much chances with Ronaldo in the team, because he's not doing that off the ball type stuff consistently, like maybe a Rashford may do, or someone that's a bit more mobile and agile. What would you say to that?
Then maybe Rashford needs to play in his preferred position in the left. Let him run riot there, free up the spaces, do the runs in the back, run at defenders, and keep Ronaldo up front. But it's hard to say without Ronaldo actually playing. Like, he hasn't played consistently enough for us to say, yeah, it can work. So he needs to get a run of games, and then we can, like, make our fair assessment of whether that system works for him. But I feel like with any great manager and any great team, if you've got the best players in your team, you find a way of adapting a way to make it work.
So just like, yeah, I mean, it's worth a shot, do you know what I mean? Just give a guy like 5-6 games, solid starts, just let him just do his thing, and then we see how it looks. Because we need, if we can get that Ronaldo of last season that got 18 goals in a team like this that's creating quite a bit, look, I feel like it will help us, get me, for this season and do the job like he did last season, and then we can obviously recoup and then look at it again in terms of what we need up top. Because to be honest, getting someone as clinical, I mean, the scouts are going to have to be working overtime right about now, because the only strikers I can really think of right now is Osimhen, the Brentford striker Tony, and Martinez, who probably got all of these guys in him that I can think of are guys that's going to cost a hefty change. And Manchester United in the summer, they're already talking about goalkeepers, a replacement right back, a midfielder. Do you know what I mean? Like maybe a centre back. Like there's players that we still need to get, quite a few in the summer. To be adding all of these guys on that list and a striker of any of those, it's just going to cost, like the minimum any one of those strikers I mentioned is going to cost us 60-70 million. Do you know what I mean? And we still got a lot of players that we need to buy. So the scouts, boy, they got to be working overtime to see if they can bring in a random person that is got the potential, but maybe it's not high on the agenda, high on the radar, of these other clubs. Something that you can get for like 30-40 mil. But it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Is Gakpo going to get bought? If he gets bought, is he going to play out wide or is he going to play centre forward? Who knows? Do you know what I mean? But we need to put in overtime, man, because I don't know if Glazers are going to want to spend that type of money they spent last summer again, consecutively.
That's true. But we definitely need to just work with what we've got now. Ronaldo needs to play, I think. If you're going to keep him, play him. If you're not, sell him. That's it, point blank.
That's
you can't have that quality on the bench. It's different if you have that quality on the bench and then the strikers are scoring. Then you're like, okay, this is the reason. But if you're going to keep him, use him. If not, you should just gracefully let him leave during the summer.
Fair enough. It's a tough one as well. Like, it's going to have to be a terminate the contract thing and let him leave rather than sell him, because I don't think anyone's going to be able to afford him and that wages, or even want to pay money for him, maybe even at that where he is in a point in his career. But who's your man of the match anyway?
It was a tough one. I just give it to Casemiro, man. He done his job in the defensive thing, and he scored. Saved us a lot of embarrassment after, especially having such a good game. He scored, so yeah, I'll give it to Casemiro.
I think I'll give it to Casemiro too. I feel like that goal it was a difficult technique. It was a really good header. As well as what he's been doing in the midfield. You know what I mean? He had an excellent first half. Obviously, he got the goal in the second half. And do you know what I mean? When he first started, I had my doubts. I was worried, is he going to get up to speed quick enough? Not in his ability and his quality, but just him adapting in the Premier League quicker. And in that timely fashion that we wanted him to do that, because obviously we just really need him. So he's doing it well. And he's putting a big impression in the team, man. So I have to give it to Casemiro as well. So Casemiro, man. You got 2 and 2 from me, you know what I mean? It was the Brazilian Samba flex last time, and now it's Casemiro again, bro. So Casemiro's he's a top lad, man. But you know what, fam? That was the OT99. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, share, man. Let us know what you think. But until then, peace.
Peace.